Hi, so I want to talk a little bit about my School of Maths and why I'm qualified to teach your kids and what it is that we do that you might not realize just kind of just from maybe other information out there and stuff like that. Okay, so I think one thing that people don't really get about our School of Maths is that I'm really trying to be like an actual school. Okay, so what most what most like it's like a tutoring. We're not a tutoring center. Okay, so what a tutoring center is, for practical definition, is they essentially take the school syllabus, but they do it better. Okay. Usually the tutors are more qualified than the teachers at school, and they basically just teach to the HSC exam and curriculum. Okay. Um, so that's fine in a sense, but if you think about it from the point of view of what I was talking about, like necessities and priorities, what's the point of going all in on a necessity? It's not. It doesn't really make any sense. And also, it trusts that the school curriculum is the right one for your child in the first place. Okay, so um, and then obviously like there's a like Maths Olympiad curriculum, and it's kind of ironic because people always look for tutoring for Maths Olympiad, but it doesn't really even exist. Okay, like who's really doing that? And so a lot of people actually come to me thinking I tutor people for Maths Olympiads, which, for practical purposes, like if your goal is to get a high score in a Math Olympiad, then in some sense that's true. That I do sort of go for results like that, but people don't understand how it is I actually go about doing that, and it's not what you think. So the key difference is I don't have like the Olympiad exam result as the end goal. Okay, I have the entire educational future of the student as the end goal. And I think I'm uniquely qualified to be able to aspire to these kind of goals and actually achieve them. Okay, so what does that mean? Like people always like, oh, do you do HSC tutoring? Do you do Maths Olympiad tutoring? And then they even like, oh, do you do maths for OC, maths for selective, maths for like this? The thing is, I just do maths. And if you learn maths from me, you'll be good at all of those things. And you don't have to, and you'll be good at all of those things in a way that you can keep after those things are over. Like we have students who learned maths and they ended up being very good at Maths Olympiad. Okay. They ended up being very good at the Cambridge Steps um, maths entrance exam, even though we didn't prepare for that at all. Okay. Ended up being very good at Extension 2 maths. Okay. So, and, and, and that's ultimately a lot more valuable than just kind of studying to an exam and only being able to do that exam. Maybe like you could do it a little bit better if you really put in the effort to get the timings right and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's pointless. You don't get to keep that, and that conditioning is kind of useless as well. Okay, so so that's one of the things. It's actually trying to be a school, and I have a curriculum, I have a plan for you, and it depends on the students. Okay, but um, it also depends on the maths. Okay, so if the HSC syllabus gets easier and non-mathematical, everyone would still flock to that and do it, but I won't because mathematics doesn't change with the whims of the students of that cohort, or the whims of the teachers that can or can't teach the syllabus that year. Okay, so I have a duty to maintain like the purity and rigor of maths. Okay, which is my first duty. And then I have a duty to the students to have the program be related to them. Okay. And my final duty, which is something I'm working on, but I haven't really spent as much effort on, is the duty to the parents. Okay. So the parents have it tough. Okay. Parents, they pay the money and they don't get anything in return, literally, because basically there's almost no time to communicate to them. The students never bother to communicate to them, and they always end up having to travel, like transport you everywhere. So it's not nice being a parent in this situation. It just feels somewhat unappreciated, but I guess but our goals are, we all focus on the students, And so if the parents do get left out, in some sense we all sort of hopefully understand where the priorities are. Um, okay, why am I qualified to teach your kids? Okay, so I mean, I'm just one person. Okay, but like the things that I teach, I actually understand and I know, and I succeeded at the things that um that your students want to learn and succeed at. Okay, so I might not have done. So I did the HSC quite well. I got 99.95. I didn't do any maths Olympiads in school, but I did enough maths. Like I succeeded enough at maths that I can easily do maths Olympiads. I can make up all the theory on my own. So that's not an issue. Like I'm not like the teachers that look up the solutions to the questions. I've almost never looked up a solution to the question in like 5 years. Okay, maybe once in every while we look at the solutions. Most of the time it's after we've already solved it. But like I'm actually capable of doing the things that I'm teaching. Okay, which sounds really stupid to have to say, but how many teachers in this country can even say that? You know, and are they really setting a good example for your children? Because like, would you want to turn out like them? Like, would you would you would you want to be so helpless that the only thing you think you can do to get more money is to strike? Is that something you want for your children? And I don't think so. That's certainly not something I want for my children. Um, I want I want I want the teacher that's in front of my children to be competent as a person, irrespective of what they're teaching. Because just being around someone, you kind of there's so many subconscious things that you can learn from someone. So if someone's like succeeding and winning and achieving in things, like that will be striking compared to someone who's not doing any of those things. Okay? And I really value the truth when it comes to to education. Okay? Like everyone's gonna have like biases and opinions. I'm a human being. I'm gonna have those things too. I'm not necessarily aligned with you politically or whatever. I don't even really know anything about politics except somehow I ended up kind of leaning conservative somehow just from trying to line up my tendencies with what I see on the news. Um but that's not really the point. The point is I'm actually trying to empower the students to think for themselves and to be able to discern the truth for themselves and achieve a very high level of competence, which I have achieved, okay, rather than just being an authority figure telling people to trust me all the time because I've got a degree in teaching, which is totally worthless, by the way. I looked at what's involved in a degree in teaching. Um, it's the biggest load of rubbish I've ever seen. And in general, people shouldn't be thinking about things so generally. I think if you really wanted to get good at teaching, you have to actually get some students and pay attention to the needs of those students. Okay? A teaching degree that just, I don't even know what the point of it is. Um, Sort of, and run by people who are probably academically very unsound. Okay. Um, is not really the way to go to train teachers. Maybe that's another video, my opinion of shortage of maths teachers or whatever. But yeah, so yeah, and also like there's another thing. Another thing is I'm an adult who has children. I'm a parent. Okay, so and I've been through like a big part of like life's journey. Okay, so I'm almost 40 now. I'm like 38. So that's going to be very different than like someone who just came out of high school and he got like maybe a gold medal in the IMO. Um, like they'll be able to offer you lots of insights into how to do well in the IMO. But again, as with a lot of like the coaching is their expertise is limited. in the sense that everything they did ended in high school, whereas my journey continued, to beyond high school, to graduate school, to research mathematics, to having a family. Like my plan for your children is basically what I want for my children in the sense that their long term is completely looked after by what's happening in the moment. Okay. Um, yeah, and I think people don't realize like they don't even think about these things. Um, even in this dimension, they kind of think about things very simplistically. It's like I need to spend X amount of money, and this person will get X marks. But you don't really understand sort of what it means to get those marks. Like the marks aren't an absolute that mean the same thing for everyone, right? So for someone who just specialized in getting the exam questions, you could cheat in the test, right? If you just cheated in the test, you get the highest marks. And it's actually sometimes it might even be difficult to cheat in a maths test because you have to memorize so much more. Than if you were good at it, you would just be able to do it. Right? But the point is like if you're like it's on one extreme, like if you just take sometimes if you take what you're doing to the extreme, then you're essentially just cheating in the test. Okay? Because you're getting a score that doesn't represent your actual ability and you don't have any ability. Okay? And you might not be actually cheating, but like to some degree, you're getting that. And the person who suffers is really the student, right? Um, so in the short term, I think you'll get a lot of accolades, but in the long term, you'll be exposed. Okay. Yeah. So basically, I have a good plan. I think for long term, it's very family oriented and it makes use of a high level of expertise, which I have. Okay. And so yeah, and another thing is, like even if you got IMO gold medal or something and you're a high school student, like your maths ability, like I'm still better at the maths than them, right? It's not like they might eventually, if they continue on to do maths, they'll eventually overtake me, as will be the case for all my students, and that is my goal. But something doesn't happen as easily or as quickly as you might think. Okay, all right, let's yeah, maybe let's end that there.